Banjo Kazooie. We meet again. I hate this game. Not in the way that you might think. Oh, no. I hate Banjo Kazooie for the countless times that I have played it and how much of my life it has sucked away from me, siphoned off like some kind of parasite, unending. More than any Game Boy. That's the ironic thing. You're sitting there playing a Game Boy right now, having a grand old time, but no, this game, oh my god. See, if you weren't around in 98, you didn't understand, but let's just start. Let's play. Gruntilda, you repulsive wench. Haunting my childhood like the fat bitch you are. Let's sigh. Childhood. When will nostalgia ever stop haunting my Let's Plays? I love how influenced by other people's opinions Gruntilda is. She's so convinced that she's so beautiful, and then she's asking her stupid cauldron, who's prettier, me or Tootie? And, well, when the cauldron tells her the obvious truth that anyone could come to, just by looking into a mirror, and of course, that's the issue with Gruntilda. She has this habit of speaking in rhymes, just like, you know, any old witch of anything, really. They always speak in rhymes, and that laugh. That laugh. Anyways, welcome to Spiral Mountain, everybody. Yeah. This is Bottles, the mole. He basically is your move tutor throughout the game. The short-sighted mole, hence the ridiculous glasses that he's wearing. I'm just gonna speed this up. This is basically a tutorial area. What am I talking about? There is no way that you have not seen one of the, like, dozens upon dozens of other Banjo Kazooie Let's Plays throughout YouTube. Let's be honest. I'm already good enough. Trust me, I've had plenty of practice with this game. Essentially, this game is built on the same foundations of, Mario 64, that type of game, going around, collecting things, and since it's rare, oh, you can bet you're doing a lot of collecting. But yeah, the moves that, you're not missing out on much by not seeing that tutorial if for whatever reason you've never seen this game, Let's Played, or played this game yourself, all two of you. There's basic melee attacks, there's a roll attack, and of course there is the rat-a-tat-rap that everybody uses. And this is an empty honeycomb. Or an extra honeycomb piece. Collect 6 of us to increase your energy. Okay, so yeah, this is essentially your life extension. Regular honeycombs. I love how everything has eyes. It doesn't matter what it is in this game. Everything has eyes and speaks in some silly cartoonish voice. That's essentially your... I don't remember the exact terminology for it, but it's some kind of a flap. I don't remember a whole lot about what these moves are, just the rat-a-tat-rap, of course, and then, of course, the roll is quite obvious just by looking at it. But, yeah, this is a very bright, colorful, vibrant game. And, good God, is its malevolence so misleading. You get an extra life, which is a Banjo trophy. Yes. Let's see if I can find where that extra honeycomb is. There we go. But yeah, extra honeycombs are not this plentiful. I think there's 2 per stage, or 2 per level, basically everywhere else in the game. So every 3 levels, you get an extra honeycomb. There's 9 levels total, so you get 3 whole extra bars. Banjo Kazooie. But yeah, if you've played Super Mario Bros. 64, you know the basic idea behind this game. Super Mario Bros. 64? Super Mario 64, Nimrod. Where is that other... Oh, right. Little boulder area, of course. I think this is the Beak Barge. I don't know. You don't use it a whole lot. You use it mainly for button pressing, things of that sort that require pressure that the rat-a-tat-rap can't do. But that's it! 6 honeycombs, and extra piece. And trust me, our life bar is very small to start out with. But it's not a hard game. Out of the games that many people would consider to be the rare trilogy of N64 games, those being Banjo Kazooie, Banjo Tooie, and Donkey Kong 64, this is the one where they were sort of being experimental. There was the frustration of note collecting. There is the lack of bosses in every level. In fact, the only boss in this game is Gruntilda at the very end. It's definitely an experiment on Rare's part, and they eventually did perfect it with their final game of the quote-unquote trilogy, Banjo Tooie. But that doesn't take anything away from what this game was, and is. See, Rare... Besides Nintendo themselves, Rare was the biggest contributor of successful games on the Nintendo 64, and kids these days, they don't understand. They sit here and they play their Halo, they play their Call of Duty and all that stuff. Games like this were the foundation and the reason why the gaming industry continued. Rare contributed so much to gaming. Back in the day. Now of course, they're a ridiculous shell and shadow of what they once were. But yeah, it's a different day and age. But back then, hey, they made GoldenEye, they made Banjo Kazooie. They made Jet Force Gemini, which I still haven't uploaded the rest of, and I will get to that sometime. They made Donkey Kong 64. They made Banjo Kazooie, of course. Anyways, the main feature of this game, basically the stars, if I could equate it to anything in Super Mario 64, are these, the jiggies, the jigsaw pieces. There's 100 in this game. There's 100 in this game. 10 per world, and if you're gonna include the castle, Gruntilda's castle, as a world, there's 10 worlds. It's mainly the hub world, though. But the reason why the collectibles are jigsaw pieces is because the way into the 9 different worlds is basically guarded by a jigsaw lock. And of course, to open the lock, you complete a puzzle. And what do you fill in puzzles with? Pieces. Yeah, it's very simplistic. And that bit of plot that you saw at the prologue is pretty much the plot of the game. I mean, even back then, video game plots weren't fleshed out. I think that really started, well, of course, Final Fantasy was the main pioneer of storytelling in video games, but Nintendo themselves and the companies around Nintendo didn't really start with story. In fact, some Nintendo franchises still don't have a story worth a damn. But anyways, here we go into Mumbos Mountain. The iconic level. The iconic music. And every time you first enter a world, bottles will tell you how many moves there are to learn. And every world has, as I said, has 10 jigsaw pieces, 10 jiggies, and 100 musical notes. 5 Jinjos. And when you get every Jinjo, you get a Jiggy. Mumbo token. We'll find out more about that a little later. Or maybe the Mumbo token won't introduce himself. But yes, the notes. My issue with this game. Oh my god, the notes. See, it's not like... I guess you could equate these to like the red star coins in Mario 64. They don't really have an equivalent. They really, really don't have an equivalent. How do I describe the notes? You need them to progress throughout Gruntilda's castle. Of course. What they don't tell you is that you actually need to collect all of these in one go in order to have credit for it. Like, you need a total of 50 notes to get past the first note door. And I'm only telling you this because it's simplistic that way. But as for everything else... if you want the best that this game has to offer, you're going to try and fill up as many notes as you possibly can. And ideally, that's 100 per world. Alas, some worlds, and of course I'm talking about the last 2, will destroy your hopes of a perfect score. Just destroy. Without relent. And they'll do it with a smile on their face. Just remember that as good as Rare was, they hate you and everything you stand for with these blasted notes. They changed this in Banjo Kazooie, meaning that it wasn't just a continuous score, there were actual collectibles that were consumed throughout the world's exploration and wouldn't, like, regenerate. But, oh, Banjo Kazooie, though. It wasn't like that. And they even learned their lesson with Donkey Kong 64, because I think the regular bananas operated like that. And they also didn't operate on this stupid note philosophy. They learned their lesson pretty quickly. But those notes... I'm not going to have any issues with them, except maybe finding the last couple in Worlds, but... Come Rusty Bucket Bay and Click Clock Wood. Anyways, here's the Talon Trot. I'm not gonna... You guys can read. I'm not gonna do the Let's Player mistake of just freaking narrating everything. That's stupid. you guys have eyes. If not, why would you be watching a video on YouTube? I don't know. The sight impaired YouTube edition. Anyway, here's our third Jinjo, the orange one. Moving right along. Yeah, Mumbos Mountain is basically your tutorial level. Nothing too complicated about it. Just to get you acquainted with everything. It doesn't really start getting complicated, if you want my opinion, until like the third level. Yippee! You've collected enough. Oh, he does tell you. Enough to break the first note door. I don't think he actually updates you on any of the note doors throughout the rest of the game. It's just the first one. Again, just to get you acquainted with things, since you don't know what a note door is yet. But this is Conga. He's just on a tree minding his own business, not like Donkey Kong, who kidnapped whatever the hell her name is. I think it was Pauline. Clever bear, find Conga's gold. And of course he speaks in monkey speak. How else are you going to describe that? It's monkey speak. Ow, I got hurt. No! Yum. Oranges are nice. And you're saying that... whatever. This is Chimpy, I think his name is. Chimpy, like Conga's orange. Chimpy helped Fat Bear and Bird. Poor Banjo. It's a running joke throughout this entire game about how overweight Banjo is. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do everything I need to. There's not really a ideal path to go through this level. It's just learning various moves, shooting projectiles, which is pretty cool. I mean, I always thought that Mario 64 felt a little incomplete. It could have done with some kind of a fireball. Yeah, you can shoot it out of your mouth or out of your, well, your ass. Oh, and anytime you visit bottles, I guess he'll fill your energy up. Little things like that I don't tend to remember. You missed me, you stupid asshole. I guess this is a boss fight. Pretty lame. You hit me! You son of a bitch! You actually hit me! Grr. There we go. Bear beat Conga. Me give prize to Bear. Monkey speak again! It's English, mother! Do you speak it? Okay. 4 Jiggies, moving right along. What's the last one I have to get? The green one? I think... yeah, that's it, Mumbo's pad. But what can you say about Banjo Kazooie? It has a fantastic soundtrack, it's colorful as hell. I mean, it of course has the addicting syndrome of collect every freaking thing you can that Rare has made so very famous. But here's the Beak Buster, actually. I call this the Beak Buster. Slam beak first. It's basically Mario's ground pound. You'll be using it a lot, and by that he means a lot. That's no lie. Anyways, we've learned every move we can learn. Ideally, I would have come here a little bit earlier, but I'm an idiot, so. And these are beehives. They have honeycombs in them. The first couple that you find are unguarded, but after a certain point in the game, they start having bees guarding them, and if you screw with them, those bees will chase you quite a ways. So. What the hell? This joystick is screwed too. Anyways, the 5th and final Jinjo. And as I said, There's 5 per level. You get all 5, you get a Jiggy. Yay. We're making progress. Oh, we're making progress. And an extra life. And the last one. Trust me when I say that all Jiggies are not this easy. They're just this easy because it's the tutorial level. Getting you acquainted with all of your different moves and things of that sort, but as I said, they're not this easy. I think, is it behind here? Maybe I'm thinking of different levels. But we have a totem pole. Juju, Mumbo's totem pole. Feed us with nice blue stones. What eggs have to do with this, I don't know. But before you do that, there is an empty honeycomb. Sneaky, sneaky. Another Jiggy. Are you getting tired of this yet? Trust me, we've got 90 more to go. 91 to be exact, but... Note collecting. It's not a pain in the ass. Literally, it's not a pain in the ass until, like, the last 3 or 4 levels. Some of them are, but... if you're going for a perfect score, those last levels will eat your soul. There is no denying that. Anyways. I'm going to get this taken care of now, since I think I've pretty much taken care of everything else. It's an iconic soundtrack. There is literally not one song in this game that you don't find yourself humming along to. It's such a bright game, and it really shows Rare's variety as a game developer. I mean, they can make a gritty game like GoldenEye or Jet Force Gemini, and in a completely the same year, or the same 365-day period, just come out with something bright and cheery like this, and they just kept going back and forth, back and forth. They made Perfect Dark as well. They're a very tongue-in-cheek developer. They could do anything. And I use that in past tense because you don't see anything of Rare anymore. I mean, pretty much when the Millennium hit, yeah, they made Banjo Kazooie, but you really haven't seen much of anything since then. And it's unfortunate. Because they're certainly an epic relic from the 90s. No bears allowed in Ticker's Tower. Anyways, you need that. You get 5 Mumbo tokens. It's pretty much in multiples of 5. I mean, I guess there might be some exceptions, but I don't really remember a whole lot. Mumbo Jumbo, the Shaman. Best Shaman in all game. Only Shaman in all game. Filthy feathered one. Mumbo's magic tokens hid by which? You can read this. What am I doing? Plenty tokens. Now, before we do this, well, I guess it doesn't matter if we do this now or not. But just get a couple notes. And throughout Mumbo's huts, there's a couple of huts spread throughout the levels. There's things on top. Sometimes it's something meaningless like eggs, ammo, and things like that. But other times, I don't think there's ever a Jiggy, but there are, I believe, honeycombs, and Jinjos and things of that sort. So it is important to always check up there and see, you know, what could possibly be there. So our first transformation is a termite. Not bad for first spell. Yeah, he's best shaman in game, but he apparently is an incompetent fool when it comes to transformations. I don't understand that. Whatever. The last Jiggy, on the other hand, and there's a reason why I did this one last, but then again, you already know this if you've ever seen this game, or seen it Let's Played or anything like that, because everybody does this last. You just go into the termite tower, and 100 notes! Perfect. Now all we need is that last Jiggy, and we'll be completely set with this level. Or will we? We'll still need one honeycomb piece. Anyways. Out of here we go. I never bothered trying that until I at least take care of this. Because if I fall, I'm going to shoot myself in the foot. Anyways. I always fear that my joystick might stick for some reason. Anyways, here we are here. Ah, that's right. You can just walk on it. And there it is. You don't need the termite to get that, but it's much easier than screwing around with Banjo and Kazooie. Anyways, you remember that Grunty switch that we hit? Grunty switches basically activate the various Jiggies throughout Gruntilda's lair. The only one that you can get in Gruntilda's lair without a Grunty switch is the one that we already got at the start. But yes, the 100 notes we just collected counts as your best note score, so we never have to go in there again. Thank you, God. Alas, though, not every world works this way. Some you may need extra moves from the future, but for right now, we're done. Mumbo's magic gets weak as you leave the vicinity of the world where you get the transformation from. Pretty basic, but anyways. When you open a world door, baddies escape and roam once more. And that's just in reference to the fact that whenever you open up a world and enter it and then exit again, an enemy based on the theme of that level will escape. In that case, it's a termite. Cool. Got an ugly picture of Grunty's fat-ass visage right there. We'll get you yet, you scheming witch bitch. I've always been amused by the design of these castle walls. You look and you can see eyes and things like that, kooky things. Anyways, the note door that Bottles was talking about is right here. And of course, there's a musical note score, and then it alternates between the note and the number. So of course, if you have that number of notes, you can open it. If not, well, then you might need help, because 50 notes is pretty easy to take care of. Why she doesn't just make a 101 note score door at the very start, I don't know. But maybe she's allotted a certain number of notes per door. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand Grunty, but the way ahead is open. Of course, we got past an easy door. Anyways, this is a cauldron. Don't really pay it any mind now, but if you find two cauldrons of the same color, you can warp throughout Grunty's lair. We're not going to find a same colored one for quite a while, so it's just a point of reference for later. Here we have the portrait for Treasure Trove Cove, one of the most famous levels from Banjo Kazooie. And why you would ever want to remove puzzle pieces, I don't know. I guess if you have an option between two worlds and you wanted to enter one world first, because there is a sequence that is basically intended by the moves that you learn, but every so often you can make a choice between two different worlds. There's like literally three different worlds that you can do this with, though. Anyways, this is Gruntilda. Her nicer sister. So, whereas Gruntilda is the wicked witch, she's the good witch, I guess. Now, while you may not want to know Grunty's secrets, every time we find her, she will give us 3 of them. They will help us avoid a fiery fate. Foreshadowing! Anyways, Grunty brushes her rotten teeth with moldy cheese! Moldy spelled wrong. She also washes her hair with rancid milk. Yeah. And she gets her clothes from the witch's warehouse. Oh, that's not bad sounding. But the journey, it is not over. For the areas surrounding Grunty's lair begin to get more and more convoluted and complicated. There's a passage in there. I'm going to ignore it for now. You know what's down there. Unless the two of you who aren't watching don't know what's down there. Who are watching don't know what's down there. Anyways. This is Treasure Trove Cove. And we will enter next episode on Let's Play Banjo Kazooie! The most overplayed Let's Played game. And of course I'm overreacting there because I'm sure many, many Mario games are far more overplayed than this. But nonetheless, overplayed. Will that stop me? Hell no! Have a good day, everybody.